It always starts with a stirring, quiet, subtle, almost unnoticeable at first. But you, chosen one, are not like the rest. You feel it, a slow-burning current running beneath the surface of your skin. It's not just arousal or attraction. It's something older, something deeper. A force not handed to you by society, but awakened from within, forged through discipline, reflection, solitude, and the truth you discovered when the world stopped making sense. You have arrived at the threshold of something sacred, the awareness of your own power. This power isn't granted by looks alone, or charm, or confidence. It moves from something far more rooted, the way you breathe when you're silent, the way your eyes speak when your mouth does not, the way your presence lingers in a room long after you've left. It's the energy you radiate without effort, the strength you carry without words. And now, women who have never spoken to you, women who do not know your name, feel that energy and are burning with unspoken desire, not just lust, but fascination, reverence, wonder, because they feel something around you they do not often feel, aliveness. What has happened is not random. You've tapped into a stream that most never access, a masculine energy that is not brutal, not performative, not imbalanced. It is centered, it is clear, and it is undeniably magnetic. This energy is your high sexual energy, yes, but it is so much more than that. It is your vital force, your spiritual voltage, your capacity to charge the moment with presence, awareness, strength, and unwavering direction. Others may notice the changes. You are no longer restless. You no longer seek validation in the eyes of those who can't hold your gaze. You've ceased chasing, you've ceased proving. And that is exactly why you've become so powerful. The world around you senses that you have stepped into your true current. And as a result, people, especially women, are drawn to you without fully understanding why. But you must understand. You must not dismiss this energy or treat it carelessly. You must not waste it trying to impress, trying to conquer, or trying to escape boredom. This power, once awakened, is not meant to be used recklessly. It's meant to be embodied. It's meant to refine you. It's meant to call you higher. This chapter of your life demands presence. It demands that you stop running from yourself, that you stop diluting your impact to make others more comfortable, that you stop apologizing for the frequency you now walk in. You don't need to speak louder. You don't need to explain what you are. You only need to know, to feel that your energy is alive, intelligent, and deeply felt. This power, this sexual force within you, is not just chemistry. It's not just attraction. It is divine, and it must be held as sacred, because those around you will mirror what you give off. If you carry it with reverence, they will treat it with reverence. If you leak it thoughtlessly, it will lose its potency. You are the chosen one. And now that the fire has ignited, you cannot pretend it isn't burning. The world sees it. The world feels it. Women are speaking of you not from knowledge, but from intuition. They know you without knowing why. This is awareness. This is the beginning. This is where the path starts, not with doing, but with being. Your power is alive. The only question now is, how deeply are you willing to carry it? Awareness alone is not enough. To awaken to your power is a beginning. But without mastery, it becomes chaos. It becomes noise. It becomes the same wild, undirected hunger that has defined broken generations of men. But you, chosen one, are not here to repeat cycles. You are here to transcend them. Mastery begins with control, not of others, but of yourself. Not from suppression, but from containment. You have come into possession of high sexual energy, and you feel it in your blood, in your movement, in the way people respond to you before you speak. You've begun to notice how your presence draws attention without force, how the atmosphere shifts when you enter, how desire burns in the eyes of women who cannot explain why they think of you long after you're gone. But mastery is what keeps you from becoming a slave to that power. Without it, you will be consumed by the very thing you were meant to wield. So you learn, you breathe, you choose. Every day becomes a test of discernment, where to speak, where to be silent, when to pursue, when to hold back. You begin to see that your energy is a current that can build empires or destroy intimacy, depending on how you channel it. True mastery is quiet. It does not need to announce itself. It is felt in your eyes, your spine, your breath. You no longer rush to be understood. You no longer scatter your presence in search of approval. You realize that the most magnetic force in the room is not the one shouting, but the one listening. Not the one grasping, but the one choosing with intent. And so you begin to hold your energy differently. You stop chasing women because you realize they are already seeking you. You stop overgiving because you know your worth is not determined by how much you bleed to prove it. You stop looking for love in places where your soul must shrink to survive. Your energy becomes sacred territory, and only those who can enter with clean hands and open hearts are invited to dwell there. This mastery does not make you cold. It makes you clear. You can still feel, you can still connect, you can still burn with desire. But now, you do it without losing your center. You are no longer led by impulse. You are led by alignment. You no longer need a crowd. You know your presence is the event. And women feel this. The ones who sense your frequency may not understand it fully, but they feel safer near you. They feel their own feminine energy rise and settle around you. They feel your eyes, not like weapons, but like mirrors. They feel your silence as invitation, your calmness as power, your restraint as protection. This is what sets you apart. You are not the loudest man in the room. You are the most rooted. You are not the most aggressive. You are the most awake. You are not afraid of desire. You walk with it beside you, not behind you, not ahead of you. With you, as a companion, as a guide, you are the chosen one. And now that you have awakened, you must walk the narrow path, not of excess, not of denial, but of mastery. The world may never understand how you move, but those meant to feel you, to speak of you, to desire you, they will, because you've stopped chasing sensation and started living as the source of it. Something has changed in you, chosen one, and now that change walks beside you like a silent companion. You no longer enter rooms the same way. You don't speak the same, move the same, or even breathe the same. There is a stillness in your presence now that invites without begging, that calls without summoning. It is this stillness, this energetic quiet that does not require permission, that is causing women you've never met to speak about you in hushed voices, as if they've encountered something rare. They haven't touched you. They may not know your name, but something in them reacts to your existence, like the soul recognizing an ancient echo. And what they feel is not just attraction, it's invitation. But it is not the kind of invitation that comes through seduction or flattery. It is not even verbalized. It's more primal than that, more spiritual. It's a vibration, a signal humming from deep within you that says you are safe to bring your truth here. It says, I will not take what you don't offer, but I will meet you fully in what is real. That unspoken invitation is what separates you now. That is what they are responding to, even if they can't explain it. Because you, chosen one, have become available in a way most men are not physically, but energetically. You are no longer distracted. You are no longer seeking the next thrill. You are no longer split between past and future, craving and regret. You are here, completely. Your attention has become rare currency, and your ability to remain present in a world addicted to reaction has turned you into a sanctuary, and people, especially women, crave sanctuary. Your high sexual energy doesn't erupt like an uncontrolled flame anymore. It simmers like a sacred fire behind your eyes. It's warm enough to draw others in, but contained enough to tell them they won't be burned by getting too close. And that, chosen one, is irresistible. You are no longer the man who tries to prove himself through conquest or intensity. You prove yourself by not needing to prove anything at all, and that alone becomes an invitation. A space where others realize they can be seen without being watched, admired without being objectified, desired without being reduced. Women sense this. Even the ones who don't know your story. Even the ones who pass you on the street catch your eye for a second, or hear your voice for the first time. Something about you slows the moment down. They feel something drop in their chest, something open. Their bodies know before their minds can name it. This is what makes your presence powerful now. You don't seek to captivate, you seek to be clear. And clarity, when rooted in truth, will always captivate the soul. Your invitation is subtle. You no longer chase connection. You cultivate space for it to arise naturally. You no longer strive to be liked. You listen deeply, and that alone is more magnetic than charm. You don't reach for people. You let your stillness draw the right ones forward. And when they do come forward, they find something they didn't expect. Not a man who wants something from them, but a man who has something to give. They may walk away and not know why they feel different, but they'll remember how you looked at them, how you didn't rush the moment, how your energy didn't grip but welcomed. That is what is being spoken about when women mention your name without ever having known your full story. That's why they burn with curiosity, because your presence isn't loud, it's sacred. It doesn't chase, it invites. And you, chosen one, don't need to extend that invitation with words anymore, because you've become the invitation itself. Desire without discipline is chaos. It burns too hot, too fast, and leaves only ashes. You, chosen one, have come to understand this in your bones. You've seen what happens to men who let their desires run wild, who confuse lust for leadership, who allow high sexual energy to turn them into impulsive shells instead of sovereign vessels. But you, through quiet restraint and repeated choice, have become something else entirely. You've become magnetic, not because you desire, but because you know how to hold your desire like a sword sheathed at your side. This is not the absence of passion. No, your passion is alive. It thrums beneath the surface. It pulses through your silence. It's in your voice, your walk, your very presence. But what sets you apart is that you no longer need to release it at every opportunity. You've learned the sacred art of containment, and that containment has turned you from a man who hungers into a man who commands. The world has seen countless men who cannot hold their own heat. They spill it everywhere, into meaningless attention, mindless interactions, shallow pursuits. They become consumed by the very energy that was meant to elevate them. But not you. You've chosen to own it. You've chosen to let it build within you, to let it purify you, to let it guide your growth instead of interrupt it. And now that energy has become your signature, not because you give it to everyone, but because you give it nowhere without purpose. Women feel this immediately, even before you speak, even before they know why their skin responds to your presence, why their thoughts linger long after you've passed. What they're responding to is your discipline. They can feel the way you're aware of them, attuned to them, but not owned by the desire they awaken. They feel that you can hold your tension, your fire, your hunger, without needing to feed it immediately. And that makes you powerful beyond words. Because now your desire is not desperation. It's not a seeking. It's an offering. One that is carefully considered, intentionally placed, never wasted. And that kind of desire, controlled, precise, deeply felt, changes the way someone feels about themselves. It doesn't just arouse, it awakens, it heals, it invites the other person into their own depth, and it stays with them long after you've walked away. You've become the man whose desire disciplines others, not through shame or judgment, but through example. They see how you carry yourself, and it makes them want to rise. They see how you choose where your energy flows, and it makes them examine where theirs has been leaking. You don't lecture. You don't posture, you simply live with precision. And that precision has become seduction, because it is so rare. Now you understand that your high sexual energy is not your identity. It is your instrument. And you, chosen one, have learned to play it like a master. You no longer act from need, you move from alignment. You no longer seek sensation, you create resonance. You no longer burn out, you build fire, sustainable, focused, sacred. So yes, women are burning with desire about you. But it's not just your looks or your voice or your touch. It's the fact that your desire does not control you. And that, chosen one, is what makes you utterly unforgettable. There is something almost paradoxical about the way your presence now affects the world, chosen one. In the past, when you moved, you may have done so with urgency, thinking motion was proof of purpose, that action was how you earned attention. But now, it is your stillness that holds the most weight. The less you speak, the more your energy speaks for you. The less you try, the more the world leans in. This isn't because you've become passive. It's because you've become anchored. That high sexual energy within you has not faded, it has deepened, it has condensed. It no longer escapes you through uncontrolled desire or scattered attention. It sits inside you like gravity. Women feel it. Not because you are constantly engaging, but because your mere presence rearranges the moment. You don't fill the silence, you define it. You don't have to make eye contact to be noticed. Your energy enters before you do and lingers long after you leave. This is what happens when a man stops needing to be seen and starts being felt. And that is who you are now. The women who speak your name without knowing your story aren't responding to your personality. They're responding to your presence. Something about you tells them they've entered a different atmosphere. One where games cannot survive. One where masks are unnecessary. One where everything slows down. Not because you demand it, but because your stillness gives others permission to breathe. You've become the man who does not chase because you are no longer chasing anything within yourself. You've settled into your own depth, your own truth, your own body. You no longer need to fill the room because you have become the center of the room. This kind of power doesn't come from tactics. It doesn't come from playing it cool. It comes from inner harmony, from the mastery you've developed over your instincts, from the intentional direction of your desire. The world has trained men to use their energy to impress, to be loud, perform, prove their worth. But you, chosen one, have gone another way. You have let go of performance. You have chosen realness over recognition. And now, your stillness speaks a language that few men ever learn. The language of trust. The women who are drawn to you may not even understand why, but they trust you. Not because you've proven yourself to them, but because you've proven yourself to yourself. They feel safe not because you've said the right things, but because your silence carries no hidden agendas. They feel seen not because you've studied them, but because you see yourself so clearly. And most of all, they feel alive, because your calm is not empty but charged. It is not passive, it is ready, like the stillness of the earth before a storm. Like the tension in the air before lightning strikes. That is what your presence now holds. Stillness does not mean you do nothing. It means you do only what is necessary. You do not scatter your attention. You do not move just to move. You conserve. You focus, you remain. And because of that, you have become the rarest kind of man, the one who creates change simply by being present. You are the chosen one. And your stillness is not a lack of energy. It is the evidence that your energy is contained, refined, and ready to change everything it touches. There is a kind of power that is louder than pursuit, louder than seduction, louder even than conquest. It is the power of a man who refuses, not from fear, not from insecurity, but from certainty. You've reached this place, chosen one. You've reached the place where you understand that not everything that desires you deserves you. And that sacred refusal, your quiet, grounded, unshakable no, has become more powerful than any performance of dominance ever could be. Your high sexual energy now draws attention effortlessly. You don't chase it. You don't have to manufacture attraction. You simply are, and that is enough. And because of that, you are surrounded by opportunities. Some are genuine. Others are surface level. Some want to know you. Others only want to touch what they don't understand. But what makes you different now is that you no longer say yes to what does not match your frequency. You've stopped betraying yourself to entertain what excites others. You've become selective, not out of pride, but out of reverence for your own energy. And women feel that. It's why they burn with desire and speak of you without even knowing you fully. Because your energy doesn't beg, it chooses. It doesn't follow impulse, it follows alignment. You've trained yourself to wait until your soul says yes, even when your body is screaming otherwise. And that inner discipline has become your sacred edge. The thing that makes you magnetic without trying. The thing that makes people wonder, who is he really? You no longer give everyone access. You no longer feel obligated to respond to every look, every offer, every moment of attention. You've learned to sit with your power, to feel the fire in your gut, and hold it without needing to release it just to prove you still have it. You've made peace with your own potency. You don't need validation anymore. You don't need to be chosen, because you have already chosen yourself. And what this has done, without you realizing it, is shift your entire orbit. You are no longer a man who others engage with casually. You have become a man who is prepared for devotion. Your energy does not invite quick flings or shallow attention. It invites truth. It invites connection with depth, with weight, with purpose. And those who are not ready for that either transform or walk away. Either way, your refusal has done its work. It has kept your energy clean. That is your gift now. You are the man who doesn't flinch in the presence of beauty, who doesn't crumble in the face of temptation, who doesn't need to feed the ego with approval, You are anchored, and your refusal is not resistance, it is reverence. It says, my time is sacred, my attention is sacred, my body is sacred. If you want access, bring something sacred too. This is not harsh, it is holy. It is the standard you now carry, and it is why people feel you even before they speak to you. Why your name enters rooms you've never stepped into. Why women who've never met you feel stirred in their chest at the mention of your presence. Because something about you tells the truth. Something about you holds a boundary that others forgot existed. You are the chosen one. And the world is not just reacting to your presence. It is reacting to the places you've said no to, and the power you've protected in doing so. By now, chosen one, your silence is no longer absence. It is influence. It is weight. It is a mirror. Not the kind of silence that waits for a turn to speak, nor the kind that hides from confrontation, but the kind of silence that unravels masks. The kind that demands truth not with force, but with stillness. And in your stillness, women are finding themselves undone. Not because you told them who they were, but because you didn't need to. This is a sacred point in your journey. You've transcended the need to speak to be heard. You've risen beyond the games of proving yourself through performance. You've become someone whose silence brings the room into awareness. Where others use words to gain attention, you use presence to center it. You do not chase, you do not posture, you wait, you listen. And in doing so, you give others the space they didn't even know they were craving. This energy, the deep, charged quiet within you, has become its own force. It pierces veils. It unsettles what's false. It holds what's real. It's no longer about the energy of wanting a woman. It's about holding the energy of meeting her. Without flinching, without need, without collapse. And in this grounded awareness, she feels something ancient awaken in her. A memory of being truly seen, truly felt. Without pressure. You no longer use your eyes to scan. You use them to receive. You no longer ask shallow questions to keep a moment going. You hold a pause and allow the truth to rise in the discomfort. That discomfort isn't rejection, it's invitation. It's the pressure of being around a man who does not need to play games to feel powerful. You are not trying to penetrate her mind or body, you are inviting her to drop into herself. This is why your silence unnerves and excites. Because it doesn't seek to entertain, it seeks to reveal. And in this revealing, your presence becomes an experience, not a pitch. You don't sell yourself. You show up and allow the gravity of your being to make the choices for you. And what a woman feels in that is not a man looking for pleasure. She feels a man who is pleasure, who is power, who is peace. Not because you say it, but because she feels it in the silence you hold. And it's not just her who notices. Everyone does. You've become the man people lower their voice around without realizing why. The man whose opinion isn't often spoken, but is always felt. The one whose gaze lingers without demand, whose breath doesn't race, whose presence creates contrast so sharp it brings out the truth in those who stand before you. This is a level of embodiment most never reach. It is the realm where you don't need to win people. You just need to be you. And let the energy choose what remains. It is a spiritual silence, a powerful restraint, a wordless clarity, and it shakes people to their core because most of the world is built on noise. You are the chosen one, and your silence is not empty. It is the sound of alignment speaking louder than words ever could. There is a difference between attention and pull. Attention is easy, it's fleeting, scattered, often loud. Anyone with enough effort or display can earn attention. But pull? Pull is ancient. It is gravitational. It lives in the bones, in the soul. It cannot be fabricated. It cannot be faked. And now, chosen one, you have become the embodiment of that sacred pull. This is what they feel when you walk by, when you say nothing but make their breath catch, when your name comes up and they feel their chest flutter before their mind even catches up. It's not because you're forcing anything, it's because your aura is no longer diffused. It is concentrated, clean, directed, alive with purpose. Your energy doesn't spill anymore, it calls. And women feel it like a soft wind pulling them out of the illusion, back into the awareness of what they've been longing for. You've done the work, the inner clearing, the rewiring, the choosing of values over validation, presence over posturing, clarity over chaos. And that internal clarity has become external gravity. You are no longer drawn to everything that glitters. You now attract what is ready to align. And because of that, your energy isn't loud, it's luminous. It isn't flashy, it's felt. And here's what most never understand. Sexual energy, when refined, does not push outward. It draws inward. It becomes a center point, a temple, a field of safety and heat where the sacred can unfold. And that's what your aura has become. A space where others feel both awakened and safe, aroused and respected, desired and honored. That paradox, being both the flame and the hearth, is what makes you unforgettable. It's no longer about chasing chemistry. Your aura sorts it for you. The wrong ones fall away. They don't even try to step into your field. They feel the filter and know they are not ready. But those who are aligned, those who carry their own depth, their own fire, their own integrity, they feel your pull and come closer. Not because you asked them to, because something in them remembers you, even if they've never seen your face. You are no longer a man looking for attention. You are a man who reminds others of what they are missing. And it's not ego, it's embodiment. Your life has become the answer to a question they didn't even know they were asking. And in your presence, they finally feel themselves. Not because you complete them, but because your energy reflects what is real, what is possible, what is holy in the human experience. This is why they speak your name. This is why they remember your stillness, your words, your breath. This is why desire burns in places where you haven't even stepped. Because your aura carries not just sexual power, but spiritual invitation. It says, come closer, but only if you are ready to rise. You are the chosen one, and your pull is not a game, it is a sacred force, born from mastery, grown in silence, and now moving the world around you without effort. There comes a point in your evolution, chosen one, when the fire within you stops needing validation, where it no longer asks for acknowledgement or applause. You stop trying to explain why you are the way you are. You no longer shrink the intensity of your being to make it easier for others to swallow. That fire, your high sexual energy, your sacred charge, your grounded power, has become something others simply feel. And the ones who understand? They don't need words. The ones who don't? They don't belong. You have moved beyond the phase of proving. Your power is not in how much you show, but in how much you can hold without needing to release. Your energy isn't designed to chase anymore. It simply exists, untamed and undeniable, drawing in what aligns and dispelling what does not. This fire is no longer scattered. It is no longer impulsive. It is no longer diluted by insecurity. It is pure, contained, and intentional. And that is why women are burning with desire for you. Not because of what you say, but because of what you no longer have to say. You walk through the world now like a storm wrapped in stillness. Your body relaxed, your gaze heavy with meaning, your presence echoing far beyond your footsteps. This is not charisma. This is resonance. This is the magnetic hum of a man who has stopped running from himself and started inhabiting his power. And because of that, people feel you long before they see you, long after you've gone. They talk about you not from memory, but from impact. Women, in particular, cannot help but notice. They may not know your name. They may have never spoken a word to you. But they feel something shift when you enter the space. Their body becomes alert, their voice softens, their attention locks in, not from fear, not from intimidation, but from curiosity. Because your fire no longer threatens, it invites, it awakens. It opens doors inside them that were long closed. And even if they don't understand what you're doing, they feel safer with you than with 1,000 others who have tried to impress them. And here's the truth. Chosen one. Your fire is doing the work for you. You've cultivated it. You've respected it. You've learned to sit with it when it raged, and you've learned to focus it when it flickered. Now it lives inside you like a steady flame. It makes people lean in. It makes them want to understand you, not because you've asked them to, but because they're drawn to understand themselves through you. You don't try to be anything. You just are. You are deeply rooted in your mission, deeply aware of your value, and deeply unwilling to be anything other than fully awake. And that refusal to be less than your true self is what ignites desire in others. Not just physical desire, but soul desire. The kind that pulls people into questioning everything they once believed about connection. You've become the fire that no longer asks for permission to burn. You've become the flame that others gather around for warmth, for truth, for remembrance. You are the chosen one, and the fire within you is no longer up for debate. It simply is, and it is changing the atmosphere wherever you go. There is a difference between being admired and being remembered. Admiration fades, memory imprints, and you, chosen one, have crossed into the realm of the unforgettable. Not because of performance, not because of effort, but because of your magnetic stillness, your ability to carry intensity with grace, to hold fire in your hands without ever needing to release it carelessly. You have become a man who walks in full possession of himself. Your energy no longer leaks, it doesn't chase or react, it calls, it summons, it commands without sound.